Good morning. Welcome to the Community Review on Hot 92.3. I'm Josefa Salinas, your host. Our series, Profiles in Life and Success. It highlights people who have done amazing things, continue to do amazing things, and are amazing individuals. That's why we call it Profiles in Life and Success. We've got another amazing profile here with us. Her name, Kathy Hao. She came to the United States with $40 in her purse. Graduated studies in 1990, and after 5 years of working as an administrator and interpreter and translator for China's Central Philharmonic Orchestra and as a college professor.
Yes.
She has done amazing things. Imagine coming to this country with $40 in your purse, and she is now an attorney. Am I right?
Yes.
So what a spectrum to have gone from. Welcome.
Well, thank you so much, and thank you for having me here.
Well, it's wonderful to have you. I love profiling women especially. People always say, why? I said, well, obviously because I'm a woman.
Yes.
That's why I love profiling women. Plus, I love giving young women an example that you don't have to be shaking your behind, half dressed on TV to be successful, to be financially secure, and to make a difference in the world.
That's right.
You can actually do things with your mind.
Exactly, with your mind and with your ability, with your drive, with your energy, yes.
So let's talk about the moment you got here and you had $40 in your purse. You looked around. What the heck was going through your mind at that point?
Scary, very scary. In 1990, May of 1990, I decided to come here. And at that time, my salary was $25 per month. Equivalent
$25 a month?
A month. And that's how much we make. So even though we wanted to make, to get more US dollars in order to bring here, and it's impossible. So with that much of money and, you have to eat, you have to live. And a good thing at that time in China is everything was free, basically, except the food. So $25, and I came here with my ex-husband. And he didn't have any money. He made less than I did. I was working for Central Philharmonic, and I made a little more money because it was semi-business governmental agency. So he didn't have money. I didn't have money. We came here as a student with $40 borrowed from family, and airfare tickets were purchased by, with the help of family. The first month we had to borrow money. And as soon as we got here, we didn't have anything. We have never seen freeway before. Driving from the airport by friend. And
that's probably daunting enough. Alone made you want to get back on the plane and run back home.
And the smell of the gas.
Oh,
never had that. We are so used to bicycles. Mm-hmm. So, and we have to find out how we can survive. My husband was enrolled at Cal State University at Northridge in a speech communication department, and I decided to support him by finding a job as a waitress right near to school because we didn't have a bike and we didn't have a car.
Right.
So we have to use what we call number 11. That's two legs, just walk.
Right.
And so I found a job as a waitress and to start to make my first cash money. And the interesting of that time was that I didn't even recognize money yet. So the first day when I found a job and the owner of the restaurant said, okay, well, you look pretty young and fair looking, so maybe you can be our hostess and cashier. And I said, okay, that's fine. And I'm a fast learner, but I got so nervous when I got home and I start to pull all the cash we have to recognize money. In China, we had different colors of money for different sizes and different amounts. So here everything's all green.
Right.
Dime is smaller than nickel.
Right.
So we had to really get the money out, try to learn the money so that I can be a cashier. Mm-hmm. So that's how I started as a waitress. And from there, making $50 a day and, try to save every penny. And I support my ex-husband to go through his school. And after 2 years of school, he finally finished his master's degree, and I decided to enroll myself to Cal State Northridge also. And at that time, I also gave birth to my older daughter, and halfway through graduate school, and I gave birth to my second daughter. And I had to take one semester off. So working full-time, raising 2 children, brought my parents and supporting my parents. And I have a husband who worked part-time at that time. So,
Wow.
So went through that. And before I finished my graduate school and we divorced, I became a single mom when my younger daughter was a year and a half. And I continued to work and finish my school during that time. And I was thinking, where can I move from here? And I decided to enroll myself to a law school, working as an interpreter for, at that time, I did a lot of subtitle translations for a company in Hollywood at night, and working for a computer company during the day and raising children. So I decided to enroll myself to a law school, a local law school where I can get access to and while still take care of my children. At that time, they're fairly young, 9 to 5 years old. And went to night school through 4 years of hard working and working 2 jobs, paid a tuition, paid a house, and 2 kids. Graduated from law school and passed the bar the first time.
Wow. Now, see, that's amazing all in of itself, because I know brilliant people who have to take it 2 or 3 times.
Yes, it's just dedication, hard work.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not really smart. I'm just average, intelligence, and just work extra harder. Just worked really, really hard with a dream that I want to be a lawyer sooner rather than later. So from there, and I opened my office. Same month, I was sworn in as an attorney, and I opened my office in Pasadena. I have been practicing since then till now. And my business will include immigration law, business litigation, real property litigation. And I also was hired back by the law school as the Dean of International Study.
Wow. And all of this over a period of how many years?
20 years.
Jeez. But you know what? And I have to say this, and people have heard me say it before on the air. Women are amazing. We just are. We not only do we give birth, but we have the ability to move beyond the mountain. We can keep going when most men, I'm sorry to say, guys, sorry, would give up.
We're not whiners. We just do it.
Especially if we're moms.
Yes.
Because you look at your children, and I can see that you have the same passion for your children that I do for mine. And you say, there is nothing that will stop me from doing what I need to do to not only set an example for them, but to get to the end goal. And that's what I've taught them. And that's their motto now is, no isn't an answer. We have to find an option. There's always an option. No is not an acceptable answer for me.
Absolutely. And then my kids will tell you, there's a word I often say, which is the sky's the limit. So really, it all depends on whether you have a dream, you have a goal. If you work on it and just work on it, stay on it, and you will achieve it. Mm-hmm. And there's no obstacles. You cannot get over it. Just overcome all the difficulties that apparent over difficulties and potential over, difficulties. And then you can work your butt off and just get toward the goal and just aim it, work on it, and you will achieve it.
Right. And I have had so many amazing women on the show who say the same thing. So I'm really hoping that women out there in the listening audience who might be struggling right now, who might be saying to themselves, oh, God, how am I ever going to do this? I have so many obstacles in front of me. You came here with $40 in your purse.
Yes.
And didn't know the difference between $5 and $10 and $20 because where you come from, money's different colors. Here it's all green, and had a cashier's job. So that's talk about a major obstacle right there. But you ended up being a lawyer and you made it.
Yes. And just like you really said, we're a woman. And then, we do have this, capability and ability to overcome a lot of difficulties that people think is impossible. Mm-hmm. And I'm just so glad that my daughters are now really step into this kind of route, and they are very goal-minded. And my older daughter now is at UC Riverside. Mm. And since she got into the school and she wanted to do something, and she was very actively looking for opportunities, how she can do it to serve the community. And she got connected with a nonprofit organization called Music Changing Lives.
Oh, I know. I'm very familiar with that organization.
Really?
Yes.
So she got connected with this organization, And at the encouragement of the organization, she started Music Changing Lives at UCR. And she is the president and founder of that organization. And I'm trying to help them raising funds and, trying to get them business deals and offer my time to draft and review the agreements. And, so it's been really fantastic. And last weekend, they were involved in repairing about 200 bicycles for the needed children on the weekends, which is really fantastic. And, I'm really blessed.
Now,
yes.
What's their website?
There was a website. Mm-hmm. I believe it's called www.musicchanginglives.org.
Okay.
And so it's a great organization. I have visited their community center in Redland, and they're doing a great job too. And, they have students from UCR, and they're going to develop to University of Redland, and they're trying to expand it to UCLA, UC Irvine, whoever my daughter has friends in, and she's trying to get them expanded to different universities and colleges.
Very nice. So mom laid a perfect example and the girls are following in your footsteps.
I hope so. I would like, to think that. And, I have told them it doesn't matter what you do, really. Whatever you select, whatever you choose in life, you want to excel, you want to stay on it, and, just focus. A lot of times you're going to fail on certain things, but most of the time, if you're focused, you can achieve it.
Definitely. And find your passion.
Find your passion.
Because when you're passionate about something, I tell people all the time, you can do it and do it for hours, days on end, and you don't even realize that you've been working for 5 days straight because you're so passionate about it.
And also, I think a lot of times finding a passion is important, but I found more people having difficulties finding a passion. So what do you do then? So I have been telling my children, I said, I didn't know anything about law. When I was in China, there was no law. There was no lawyers. I know nothing. So it's not really a matter of what you know and what you learned. It's but something that you do. Once you select what you want to do, you build your passion. You start to love it and you work on it, you perfect it, and that's how you do it.
Right. Very good. So let's talk a little bit about China.
Yes.
Because there's so much that people want to know. I mean, there more and more and more we're hearing, we've got athletes here in the United States from China and, with Olympic Games and all of these kinds of things. People are like, what do we really know about China? So talk to me a little bit about the town that you came from and what life was like when you first made that decision to come over here. You said that you were living on $25 a month. Now, to anybody here, they would think that's impossible. There's no way she can be telling the truth. How did they eat? How did they do anything? How did they pay their rent on $25 a month? So explain life in China then.
I was born in 60s and went through Cultural Revolution. When I mentioned that in 1990s, I was making $25, that was a lot of money already. But everything was cheap. Like I said, it was communist. Housing was free. We only pay very little electricity bills, and there's very, very little expenses you have to spend every month.
Because the government
government provide, whatever company you work for, a lot of times they will provide you with housing, and everything has a limit. China at that time didn't have a market that as long as you have money, you can buy anything. No. You have money, you have this $25, but everything is limited too. You are given coupons to purchase. You are allowed to purchase, let's say, maybe 1 pound of sugar a year or 1 gallon of cooking oil a year. And you're limited in spending your money. There's no free market. Everything was limited. So you're using coupons to buy stuff. And a lot of times even you have a couple pennies saved from the $25, but you have no way of buying anything from anywhere else because everything was limited. But things have changed since 1990, actually slowly to change since 1980s, latter 80s, but now it has changed dramatically. I grew up, in a socialist environment. We lived in school. I was in a boarding school and everything was free. We do pay very little money for food, but housing was free. The water was free. Most of the things, of course, you buy clothes, but like I said, everything was so limited. And even if you have money, you have nowhere to buy them. And I remember growing up in China, up till I was 27 years old, that's when I came here from China, I had never had a fresh banana because I was living in the north part of China, and banana was a product of the south, tropical weather area.
Oh.
And there was no storage facilities that they can transport those perished food from south to north. And usually when the food or the fresh fruit, perished food get to the north and they become dark and they become ugly. And that's something that we don't even touch in today's standard. But since 1990, in the past 21 years that I've been here, I've been back to China many, many times. I was invited to the Olympic of 2008 opening ceremony, and I have been going back and forth to China every year. As a matter of fact, I just got back 6 weeks ago. I was in China. I've seen the changes, and I've seen the wealth that had been built. And I've seen the globalizations. The world gets smaller. When I was in China in 1987, I was working for a concert hall, a classical music concert hall called Beijing Concert Hall. That was the first classical concert hall in China, but with all natural acoustic, no electrical musical instrument were allowed. And I remember I was sent to Czech to buy pipe organ. So I went to Europe. Before I left, I have a youngster college student whose brother had come to United States. And he told me, he said, I heard in Europe and the United States, they all use computers. I didn't know what computers were, and I've never seen one. And he said, well, maybe when you go to Vienna, you can see how they sell tickets by using computers. And that's in 1987. There's no computers in a big organization, in a big concert hall. And now everything is e-ticketing in China too.
Right?
So that's the change in the past 20 years.
I never would have guessed that in the late 80s, there would be a woman with the talents like Kathy who had never seen a computer in China. There's so much more to learn about China, and we're going to hear more from Kathy coming up next on the Community Review, Hot 92.3. Don't go away.